Well, if you want to, we were just giving people a couple more minutes to hop on, and then we'll get started. Hopefully, you guys can see those of you who are in Discord, the live stream there. Hopefully, you can see my screen. Maybe you can hear a little bit of the background music. This is my main character that you're looking at right now on the screen, on the Alliance side. So I have plenty of tunes on the Horde side as well, but I'm just standing at the create character screener right after you log into the realm, just so we can get to the character creation. Welcome, Squishy. Thanks for joining. Crop! Yay! Crop Circle's there. Adobe. Welcome, welcome. Hey, Kenya. Awesome! Love it! Okay. Both my kiddos are playing Animal Crossing. It's kind of fun to watch them. Night Elves, yes, on Earthen Ring is a server. So if you're following along with us and want to hang out with a group as we kind of go through the starter zone here, Earthen Ring is a server when you first hop on, Earthen Ring US, and then we're gonna want to create Night Elves so we can kind of be together. If you don't want to create a Night Elf, you don't have to. You can create a human or whatever character you want to create. It's 5 after, so I'm gonna go ahead and get started, Marcus. Well, that's a good question. There are a lot of great tanks. A mage is not one of them. So as we here at the character creation screen, we can create new character, bottom right hand corner. We're going to stay with the base races. Baseline WoW had 4 races: Gnome, Night Elf, Dwarf, and Humans. I know you can see all these other wonderful things down lower. We're not gonna focus on that. You can pick male or female character, whatever you wish to do there. I'm going to create a Night Elf. And what's kind of cool about this, there's more information that you can, bottom right hand corner here, excuse me, that you can click on to learn a little bit more about the lore behind the character. You can also learn about what their talents are as you look at the different classes on the right hand side, some of the spells they use. So you asked a question, what's a good tank class? Night Elves have several options, so each race may have a different option for tanking. And so on the Night Elf race, you have warriors are a tanking class. You have druids that are a tanking class. And then you also have a tanking spec. So some characters, as you look at them, this druid right here has different capabilities based on the spec you choose. So if you look at the druid in particular, I'm going to create a warrior here in just a minute, but as you look at the druid in particular, it has the capabilities to heal. See up here it says roll tank, healer, range, damage, or melee damage. So this is one of your most versatile characters where you can jump into just about any role that's needed in a group. And so a lot of people do roll druids. We do see that often. So that's a tank spec. You also have warrior is a classic. That's the I think the most popular tank spec early on in WoW. Had the best versatility, but then also could do melee damage. And then later on in the expansions, I'm not going to go to Death Knight, but Death Knight. So stay away from the Death Knight, Marcus. We're not rolling those today, or the Monk. Those are in later expansions. So yeah. Okay, so I'm going to stick with the warrior class here, and I'm just going to hit customize here. But you could click on the dwarf. You can learn a little bit. Sorry, go ahead. good tank class is warrior. For baseline, a warrior is a great tanking class. Okay, sword and board is what you end up rolling with a tank. So humans, each one has the the little bit of the information about them. They do have specific traits that are racial. So increased haste and critical strike, mastery and versatility for humans. Bonus on reputation gains, so they gain rep faster, is another racial with humans. And then they can break out of stun effects. So really great for PvP. If you're in PvP, don't like to get stunned, it's a great way to be able to pop out of that. It's a racial. Dwarves have racials. They can take a stone form, increased effect from critical strike. So if you want to tank with a dwarf in warrior, Marcus, they tend to be pretty decent tanks, and they have the resistance to frost damage. Night elves, I like the night elf primarily for the faster attacks and then increased critical, and then also they can dodge a little bit, so they're more difficult to hit, so I have pluses to dodge in their racial. So, and a little bit of the lore behind it. Do you have a question? So your hardest hitting, so in early WoW, no, we're not going to talk about monks today because that's in a late expansion. So we're talking baseline WoW that was released, the first release. So mages were, I think the term that was used often was the glass cannon. So they hit really hard. They have several different specs. You also can use if you choose a priest class that does damage, they can do a shadow priest. So I would, if you want to do ranged with the highest amount of output of damage, would be a mage. Hunters are also, it's my favorite. I'm a little biased. A little bit more versatile. They do have a pet, so they can have like a tank that helps protect them a little bit. But for the most part, with the night elf race, you do not have the warlock available. So if you want to roll a warlock, which is another ranged class, so you have mage. I rolled just moved over to the human here. Now you have the capability to do mage or a warlock or hunter. Actually, hunter wasn't original in the first WoW release. So that's if you were looking for pure DPS and you weren't worried about survivability, then mage and warlock are a couple of your classes. The hunter is something that's a little bit more survivable. They wear leather armor when they first pop out, and then eventually move into male. So, and have a pet that can help tank, or at least take a little bit of aggro so things don't grab you. So, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and pick a warrior. So a night elf warrior. You can click on the customize tab here, and this is where you're going to be able to choose the different options for your characters. So you can do the skin color, you can completely randomize it, which I thought was kind of interesting. You can kind of flip through the randomizer here, and you can kind of see, there's some interesting builds that just kind of pop up. I think originally, if people were wild and crazy, they just picked randomize and just went with that. But skin color, you can roll through. So I'm just scrolling with my mouse. You can scroll up, choose a skin color there, scroll down, pick the one that you're most comfortable with. Face, you have some options here with grumpy face, resting face. This one's interesting. I don't remember this one being in the original WoW with these bandages on the eyes, but I'm going to go ahead and pick. I'm going to pick that one right there. And what I'm doing, guys, I'm just normal clicking on my left mouse button. I'm grabbing it and I'm just kind of spinning it around so I can kind of see it. You can also use these little arrows left and right if you want to move your character around so you can kind of see them. There is not really a zoom in and zoom out while you're building your character. Hairstyle, you can pick your different hairstyles. There's a lot has changed since 2004. So there's a few more hairstyles that are available. This was, I think, the classic that I chose when I created my first character. So I'm going to do hairstyle. I'm going to pick my hair color. I'm a big fan of purple, so I roll down to the purple. You can choose whatever you want. Maybe the gray hair. I'm going to roll with purple. And then the facial hair you can choose. And a lot of these characteristics are slightly different for the female class when you pick that one. I'm going to roll the little goatee with some eyebrows there, and I'm a big fan of guys. I go by Fezgig. At the end of the day, almost all of my characters have Fez in there somewhere. So I'm going to pick Fezenak. We'll do that. And after you've picked all of the different the individual characteristics, you can go ahead and hit finish. And I'm just normal clicking, and I can kind of spin the character around a little bit here. If you are following along and you're like Marcus was, I want to turn the audio down just a little bit on the background here. You can go ahead and choose menu, and you can go to system, and you can go to sound, and you can kind of enable or disable all of your sound. Enable your sound, pick your different things that you want here if you like. Master volume is where I can turn things really down low. When I'm raiding, I like to have the volume down pretty far so that I can hear the raid leader giving commands and whatnot. So we'll bring that back up to 30. You can always reset your user. That was awesome! You're ahead of us, Marcus. So resetting the user options. So if any point in time, any of your graphics, some of your advanced settings, you can mess with your graphics and jack it all the way up as high quality as you want. The system, when you first log in the software, will pick what's recommended based on the quality of video card you have. If you really want to drag this up, you can. But if you get into a spot where you're like, man, the game is just really chugging, you can reset user options or use recommended is another way to drop the game. The frame rates will drop down so that you're not chugging along or having any lag there. So I'm going to hit cancel there. So logging in, enter world. So we're going to hit enter world here. And usually I've disabled all of my add-ons. And so we're going to see WoW as you first log in. And usually there'll be a little bit of a story that you see. Maybe a little short clip on the different race that you're creating or entering with. Marcus, are you able to hear the sound, the music behind the game on my side?
After years of imprisonment within the Emerald Nightmare, Arch-Druid Malfurion Stormrage has finally returned to the mortal world. Reunited with his love, Tyrande Whisperwind,
awesome.
Malfurion endeavors now to heal the corrupted world tree Teldrassil and rejuvenate the spirit of the Night Elf people.
Okay, thanks, Max.
Yet as the great cataclysm shakes the boughs of their colossal tree, the Night Elves brace themselves against the coming storm. As war and destruction close in from all sides, it falls to Night Elves like you to stand strong and protect the enduring legacy of your people.
Awesome. And so right out of the gate, when you enter as a new character, a couple of things to point out, and I'll go through the UI here really quickly. My character, top left-hand corner, this is my character. This is my health bar. So right now I have 100% health. This bar just below it is either the energy or the mana or the focus or the rage that you use for your special spells. And so as we level, as we get bigger, we're going to get more and more spells, and we're going to rely on that bar to help use those spells. Okay. If I group with another individual, which I'm going to do here in just a second, their character will actually pop up and they'll stack off to my left. The bottom left is the chat. Most of your communication's happening down here. I like to, I'm right clicking, so I use my right mouse click. I like to have a black backdrop on my chat window so I can see things a little bit better. Some people don't like to have the chat block any other view. They like to see the whole screen. But I just right clicked on general, and I'm going to background, and I'm going to scroll all the way up here, and you'll watch that it changed my chat window to have a black backdrop. It just helps me to see the text a little bit better. You can also change the font size of the text. I'm getting old, later in my 40s, so I like the larger font so I can kind of see what's going on there. You can also change a couple of the other settings. So you can actually turn off channels. Let's say I don't want to see any of the chat going on in some of the channels in the area, the local defense. I don't want to see anything on local defense. I don't want to see anything on general. I can just turn those off right there. And then you can turn them right back on just as easily. You can also change the color of the chat. And that's important. If you have guild chat going on, it's going to be green. If you have general chat going on, it's going to be kind of a white. Maybe my kiddo can say something in the general chat here really quick so you can kind of see it pop up in the chat channel, which typically is just one. So my kiddo just said hello. That's actually a say, so it's not in the general channel. But if we hit /1 period or /1 and space, now I'm actually in the general chat for the Shadow Glen area. And Shadow Glen, if you look at my top right hand corner of my screen, that's the area that we just zoned into. Okay, so there is a general channel for each of the different zones as you kind of walk into them, and that kind of keeps the chatter down, so you're not seeing stuff going on in another part of the world. It also helps you to ask for help. So I could actually say, anyone able to help with this boss? And then people can say, yeah, I'd be happy to help with you. It's just an easy way to be able to communicate. Generally, if you want to sell something, it's a little bit different. But that's how you can chat in general. You can also do what my kiddo did, which is you can hit /S to say something. So I can say something back to them, and now on their screen, because they're within the proximity of me, they're hearing what I say just locally within like a very small radius of us. You can unlock the window and you can make it smaller. So if you want to minimize the size of your chat window, you can do that. Sure, go ahead, Marcus. Yep. So yes, you'll learn new spells as you visit your trainer and as you level, and so yes, absolutely. And so you'll notice that you probably got just you can whack them with a staff, or you can send a simple spell there. I can lock this.
Greetings.
It did not give you anything.
May the stars guide you.
Okay, so in your bottom, as I go through this, the chat windows here, you can look at your combat log, what's happening to you, and then this is your main spell casting bar, which Marcus is referring to. So when you are first introduced to the world, it'll pre-populate with a couple of spells that you already have. Marcus, you probably should have something in probably one or two. If you don't, I'll show you where you can actually add additional spells. So. Yeah, so these are all numbered 1 through 0 here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, up to 9, and then 0. That's actually on your keyboard. So if I want to hit attack, I just hit my number 1, and I'm starting to attack something. It's picking the nearest thing to me, which is this pig up there on the hill. How I'm moving around, and so spell bar. How I'm moving around. You can either use your left, right, forward, back, or what I like to do, and this is crazy, this took me like almost a month of playing WoW before I had a friend tell me, hey, you know what, just press your left mouse button and then hold it down and then hit your right mouse button, and guess what, it runs for you, and then you can kind of just move your mouse around on the mouse pad, and you can move around. It made it so much easier for me to be able to maneuver my character, so it didn't feel so much like the world was turning all the way around me, like with my keystrokes here. Another thing, bottom right hand corner here, you have your character. So if I click on this, which also has hotkey buttons, so you can see it says character info with the letter C. If I just hit the letter C, it's going to bring it up, or I can click on it down here. Any one of these has a similar thing. If you don't bind your key to something else, it'll open it up. So my spell book would be P. You can have several windows open at a time. So Marcus, hit your P button and tell me what spells you see that are not grayed out here. Okay, so if you have Fire Blast and Frostbolt and they're not on this bar here, I want you to drag them down, just like I'm doing. So normal clicking on the spell. I'm bringing it down, and I'm going to drop it right on the number button. Okay. To pull something off is Shift. Hold your Shift down. Hold Shift down, hit your left mouse button, grab it, and drop it off your toolbar, and that'll remove it off your toolbar. Okay. And on your, so looking at your spells, looking at your character has head slot, neck slot, shoulder. These are all the different places where you're going to place the gear that you pick up along the way. And you'll notice right here the attributes. So I was born with strength 15, stamina 20, armor 18, and then my enhancements to critical strike 6%. Chances are that's due to my I'm actually not a GM, so Max, if you happen to be in on the Alliance side with a character that is able to invite, or Gusty, or awesome. Okay. Awesome. All right, so okay. So thanks for that, Max. I didn't realize that. It's been so long since I've been around anybody who's in the starter edition. Okay. So a couple of other things on here with your character and your spell bar. Here's all the spells, and Marcus, you can actually see all the spells that you could potentially get as you level. So when I hit level 65, I'll get this Blade Storm spell, and I can kind of just hover over and see what that spell is going to do. There's also a Professions tab. Okay, so professions are things like you have cooking, fishing, archaeology, but then you also have things like blacksmithing, you have leatherworking, you have skinning, you have mining, you have disenchanting, enchanting, you have grabbing herbs, gathering. So there's gathering professions. There's also where you make things, and that's where you're going to need to decide at some point what am I going to find along the way that I can use to either create gear for my own character or that might help the team if I tend to group quite a bit. So an example of that would be I'm a warrior. So it might be best for me to pick my first profession to be blacksmithing, because then I can make plate gear, I can make weapons, and whatnot. My second profession would be mining. I need to have the ore to be able to do the blacksmithing. So as I'm going about, I can gather ore, take it back to town, and then help make gear and make weapons for myself and maybe even my friends. Something else to note, this is new. In the original release of WoW, this was not the case, if I remember correctly. You can actually get experience points for doing things like mining and like gathering herbs. And so if you like to have that little XP buff, you might want to think about which secondary or gathering skill that you have. Skinning doesn't give you that, so either mining or herbing will give you additional XP as you kind of are out and about. Some other things to be looking at on your spell book is your general tab here, and this is based on not only your race but then also your class. And so you'll see here Shadow Meld is a racial for Night Elves. Now this is really cool. One of the things I really liked about the Night Elf race was I can completely disappear. So with Shadow Meld, and I did this often, I would be playing along solo, and I would just need to get up and go get some food or something, and I didn't want to log out because originally login servers, it took a long time to get back in. So I would just shadow meld in the middle of nowhere, and things can't see you. The PvP, they can't see you. They'd have to walk on top of you really to see you. But so that's the racial for Night Elves. It also breaks. It breaks when you're in combat. So if I started to fight this cat up here at the top of my screen, and I just go into shadow meld, it will go, oh, he disappeared. So it can be useful in certain situations. Some of these other things in yes, exactly. Awesome. Yeah, go ahead. Absolutely. Thank you, Gusty. And we're all about the pets, right, Gusty? We like to do the pets. Uh, yes, Seaman is a collector. So, well, the this mini map, top right. So you can't really make that bigger. You can hit your M key, Marcus, and that will actually bring up your main map and your quest log. So in this one without mods, really at the end of the day, you can either maximize it so you can kind of see the current zone we're in. So this current zone was the general one that you saw in the chat. So any kind of communication that we're doing, we're talking to anybody in this area here. And then you could change your map to other areas. So if somebody says, hey, how do I get to so-and-so? You can actually right-click on the map and it'll zoom out. So I'm right-clicking on my mouse and I'm zooming out, and I can kind of see Shadow Glend. This is actually Teldrassil. I won't tell you the story, but in early WoW it's there. In later WoW there's some things that happen to it, but um, mistakes were made. To go back into a zone, you can left click, normal click on it, and you can zoom you back in. If you want to continue to zoom out, so you can kind of see where does Teldrassil sit in the whole realm of World of Warcraft, I continue to hit right click, and it's zooming me completely out. So you can kind of see right here, and I can even go further than that if I want to because of these other expansions. We're going to stay in Azeroth though. So going back to Teldrassil, we can zoom back in. I'm just normal clicking, and then I'm back in the zone here. So if you want to, and I'm just maximizing or minimizing here. Does that help answer your question? You cannot change the size of this map, Marcus. This kind of just stays the size that it is right here. You can, however, on the map, zoom in. So I can click on this and say, hey, I want to see really a little bit closer as to what's going on around me. There are certain classes that can track other entities in the realm, and so like hunters can track pets or animals. It can track everything. Dragonkin, they can track humanoids. Yeah. So, but it also helps you with mining and herbing, so you can actually track other things. So you can track pets, like Gusty said. You can track warboards. I would actually, as you're learning this game, I would just turn all of these on, and that way you can kind of see on your map where things are showing up. Now, when I hit track pets, you can kind of see. You can swim. You can swim in this game. Awesome. Yes, yes. Swimming's kind of fun. I know my kiddo right here is. Did you roll a priest or a druid? You rolled, and now you see that I'm hovering over them. You can kind of see the bottom right-hand corner. It kind of tells me what their race is and what their class is. Okay, so they're rolling a Night Elf Priest right now, level 1. The not so I was going to point out a Druid here for a specific reason, but you rolled the Druid. Okay, you bet. Oh, for the group invite? Say it again, Gusty. CRWCHT. So you can invite two different ways, or well, several different ways, but they can also ask to be invited. But so now that I've invited Gusty here, you can see that they've showed up in my list of characters that are playing in a group. And so if I click on my Kidling's character here, I can their focus is on the top left here. I'm going to right click. So right click, and I have some things I can do with this individual. I can invite them, I can whisper them, I can inspect them, I can trade with them, which is also something in this environment. You in an MMO, obviously you can share things, and trading things like maybe I picked up a bunch of cloth and I don't need it because I'm a blacksmith and I want to give it to them because they are going to make armor out of the cloth, and so I can trade that with them. I can follow them. This is also another feature. So if they start walking around right now, I'm not doing anything, Marcus. My hands are off the keyboard, and now I'm following them. Okay. And if I break off, I'm no longer following them. But that's a nice little feature, especially when you're starting out. You're running a lot, and so if you're grouping up with a team of folks, they can all follow you. You can say, all right, if somebody needs to go take a break, go grab a drink or something, you guys can all follow me, and I can just run along. Everybody's in the trail. Now, that doesn't keep you from getting attacked, but it is a nice little feature there. I can whisper. So whisper is a private point-to-point chat. So I'm going to whisper to my kiddo, and it's in pink. So you remember we talked about the different colors in the chat. So as people might even whisper you. So if Gusty and I are out and we're just kind of fighting these night sabers, and Gusty wants to say, hey, would you want to group up to do that? They could say, hey, do you want to group up to help party to get this accomplished, so that we're all killing and benefiting from the same kill. Otherwise, it's individual kills and we're kind of looting separately. And so to collaborate, it's typically good etiquette to whisper somebody and say, hey, do you mind? See there, Gusty said, hey, Fez. And my kiddo said, hey. You can also party chat. And so I'm going to invite my kiddo. So I'm going to right click on their icon here, and I'm going to invite them. Now, I could have used the command line like I did with Gusty. And now they've got 3 people in the group. Now, your baseline group is 5. So 5 max. So as we're going to start exploring here in just a minute, anything, and I'm not sure who Chumby is, but Chumby may be in our, if you're in our channel and you want to join our group, you let me know, whisper me, or just say yes in Discord and we'll invite you to the group. I'm not sure who you are, but you're a hunter. So happy to have you join the group if you're with us.
Hail to the night.
Emotes, and so there is so much, it's so much to cover, man, in 2 hours. But
morning elf.
What you're seeing in the chat and what you're hearing is Gusty and my kiddo using emotes. And so what that is and there is, let's see here, /emote. So you can do /silly like that.
Last night I went to an awesome stag party.
Okay, I don't know how that was funny, but and if you click on a person, so I'm clicking on my kiddo here, and if I do this emote, I'm gonna hug my kiddo. I hit hug, and that's that. Last night on the town hall when I said there are this many hugs in our guild, that constitutes a hug. I can also do what Gusty did earlier, and this is a little bit of the RP role playing that you can do in the game. There is absolutely, you can go slaughter a bunch of stuff, gather a bunch of stuff, quest and level, but there is also a lot of fun to be had in the RP portion of this. So if I click on Gusty and I do /wave, they did this to me earlier. My now it's not just an emote. I'm actually actioning You can also do some other things that are not as nice if you like taunting people. So I'm not going to go into all of those, but sometimes in PvP you can taunt people a little bit. There's a laugh, but there are some fun things you can do with the emotes there. I want to finish with a navigation bar here really quick, and then we'll move on to moving out into the world a little bit more, because there is so much to do out here. As Gusty said, there's plenty to do, not only with just questing, but also battle pets. So we now know our character page. We can see where we put our gear as we kind of pick it up. Titles are basically titles that your character has. It looks like that's the section right here before Gusty's name. They're using the Elder title. You don't have to use a title, so you can turn off the title. Titles are things that you've gained already in game. It's cross-character. And so a lot of these things that you see in my titles are things that I've accomplished over the years, and they're just available for me to use. So I'm not going to have a title. The equipment manager, as soon as I start getting a little bit more gear here, I'll show you this. But Marcus, you mentioned that you mentioned what's a good tanking class, and I said, well, druids can tank, but they can also do damage and they can also heal. You may gather different gear and weapons for those different specs, and so the equipment manager gives you the ability to kind of set, this is my DPS spec, and it has all of my gear selected. And then if I want to switch all of my gear to a healing spec, then I can say, choose the healing spec, and it switches all of my gear out to now be for that healing spec. Same thing for the DPS. So as a druid, or if you're a paladins are similar in that, but your druids, your paladins, your versatile or multi-role type characters could have different sets for the roles they're playing. Now, bag space. So that's the character screen for the most part. Bags, if you just hit B for bag, it'll open up your backpack. Hit B again, and it'll take your backpack away, or you can just kind of close the button here. Now, as was stated in ESO in the walkthrough, bag space is always going to be a challenge if you're a pack rat. Blizzard did introduce a way to be able to clean up your bags rather easily. It's a nice way to kind of organize things. So if you click on this after you've got your bags full, it'll kind of organize it based on the quality of items that you have in your bag or the things you have in your bag. You can add additional bags. So you can see right here I've got equipment containers. And as we start to quest, oh, there's Max. So I can invite Max. And he's a druid, I know, because he's in flight form. But you can add additional bags, and you're going to want to rather quickly, because your bags will become full. And as you're kind of running around, it kind of is, oh man, I have to either be selective about the things that I pick up and carry with me, or I'm often selling things as I go back into town. And so, last thing here, quest log, and then we'll get started here in just a second. But the quest log, I clicked on. I don't know how to say his name, but this very first person that I ran into when I came into the zone, I normal clicked on him and it automatically accepted the quest. I'm going to go to my settings here really quick. There is auto accept on the quest. I may not want that. I may want to read, what's going on with that quest. Here, I'm going to abandon it so I can show you what it looks like. So I'm going to hit Q, or I could just click on this little button right here, quest log. I'm going to normal click on this, and I'm going to abandon it. So I'm going to lose this quest. I'm going to leave it. Okay. Now he's got a little question mark above his head. Now, if there, when I first started playing, I really wanted to understand the lore and understand what the character was asking me to do. Everything about what he wants you to do is listed in here. And that's, if you really are in a hurry, you just accept things and you start running around, you may not know that he only wants you to kill 6 young Night Sabers. And so you may be running around going, gosh, I'm not completing what I need to complete. a good portion of the time what they're asking for you to do is clearly stated in the quest. It also tells you what the reward is and then the experience points that you're going to gain from completing that quest. You're going to want to gather as many quests as you can as you're kind of out and about, so that as you're killing things, you may be killing something that has a quest item, but you just don't have the quest yet. So as you kind of look around, look and see if there's anybody else in the area that might have a quest for you to do. Try to gather those before you head out, and that'll save you some time running back and forth. So, let's see. Guild, go for it, Marcus. Yes. Yep. And you bet. And we're actually going to go do this quest here really quick. If you want to share a quest with the party group that you've got, you can click on share. I think everybody grabbed it because it doesn't look like it can be shared with anybody here. But you can share a quest. So, Marcus, if you're clear down the street and you're like, hey, will you grab that quest and share it with me? You can click on the character, or actually click on quest, click here, and then hit share, and it'll share it with everybody in your group. If they don't have it, they can accept it if they have room in their quest log. Quest log also is not endless. There's, I think, 25 that you can have at any given time. So he's told us to go do something. So let's go do some basic attacks. I do move my buttons around a little bit for me. I use, this is just preference. This is starting my attack, and this is going to be my special spell that I'm going to use my rage for. So I mentioned this bar up here. I'm going to build up some of my rage, and so I can use this spell here. So I'm just going to run around, and I'm going to target. So to target, you can either tab target or you can click on. If I normal click on something, you notice I'm not in an attack stance. If I right click on something, it means I want to attack it. And so, and that can be a bad thing if you're a hunter and you're staring at a boss or staring at something. And you're in a group, you can accidentally pull things by just right clicking on them. If you're a ranged class, I'm gonna hit escape, and now I'm no longer in my attack stance. So I'm going to normal click on this. I'm just going to run up to him, and I'm going to start my attack with my 3 button here. Now I've got to be within range. You can kind of see that little red circle. That's the range that I need to be in so that I can hit him. And with a couple of swings, it does kill him rather quickly. You'll notice at the very bottom down here, I've got my XP bar. So I just got 10 experience out of 400 for killing that. Now if you want to look at the experience as you're getting it, you can also set that up in your settings. So here I want to turn on, so I went to my chat settings, I went to general tab, and I want to see the experience that I'm gaining from the kills that I'm doing. So I'm going to hit OK here. I right click on this character, or that I just killed, and you'll notice the loot table comes up here of the items that are available on that. Now, auto loot. If you want to save yourself a lot of time, go hit escape, or you can go into system settings here. Go to system interface, and I want to turn on my auto loot. Okay, and that'll allow me to, if I hit OK here, return to game. Now when I right click on him, the loot's going to automatically go into my bag, and there it is. Save you a lot of time there. Okay. Now, if I was a leather worker, I could actually, and I had skinning as my secondary profession, I could actually right-click on him after all the loot's off, and then I could have skinned him for his hide. So nothing goes to waste, really. Yeah, we are. Are you not in Shadow Glen? So, what's your character name? Julia USB. So I'm targeting. You'll notice I'm typing in my chat. Target Julia. I think I spelled it right. USB, and I hit enter. Okay. Target Julia USB. Right. Okay. You must not be within range that I can target you, or I could actually see where you're at, or I can invite you. Let me invite you. don't think I'm spelling it right. So, say it again, Marcus. I was doing P instead of B. There you go. So you're out and about. If I wanted to find you, yep. And now if I want to find you, this is another cool tool that we can use in game, and we use this often. No, you're fine. You're fine. We're going to actually highlight you. We're going to make it so everybody can see you. So I'm going to right click. I'm going to right click on your character portrait. I'm going to choose target marker icon. What do you want? Skull, crossbones? What do you want? Let's give you skull. So we just turned on that you're marked with a skull, and so as we kind of look around the area, we can kind of see you, and that skull will actually show up even if you're behind a tree. So you really can't hide from us, Marcus. You are now labeled until we remove that target marker off of you. I know, isn't that crazy? So often what we do, if you have a character that's the tank and you're running in a group, typically we'll mark the tank with a marker so that everybody kind of stays behind the tank, so we don't do any kind of face pulling. I don't think you're a tank spec. I think I'm the tank spec, but that's another way that you can kind of find somebody who's out and about. You can kind of look around and you can mark them. Okay. All right, let's go. Let's continue to finish this quest off here. If you guys want to help me kill these young Night Sabers. And if I kill it, if you kill it, doesn't matter who's killing these. If we all kill one, we get the credit for it. You'll see up here it just said, yep, boom, boom, boom. 5 of 6. And so you'll see also here in my chat channel, you can actually see how much experience I'm getting from each of those kills. And we're getting a bonus to group, being in a group and killing things. We have a bonus to our XP. So it is. Are you a hunter? All right. So as you can kind of see off here under my quest log, you can see that quest now has been completed. I'm hovering over that right now, and so you can also see that Gusty is not on this quest. Neither is Max. Max probably completed a long time ago. But then also you're not on this quest, so chances are you've already completed it. But what is kind of cool in the group is I can see that my kiddo is ready to turn it in. So now we can kind of run back to this character. You can see the little question mark that popped up over their head. And we can go both turn this in and see what they have that they'll possibly give us here. I love the ambient music.
Peace be with you.
Okay, so read the quest line. You can hit complete quest. There are some add-ons that you can use that will auto-complete quests for you. I just like to read the stories behind things. That it automatically started to add me to the next quest, which the first quest was basically just a crumb. So we just continue to keep on going. They continue to give us more quests. We start moving around a little bit further out to get these items. I'm going to go ahead and hit click OK.
Farewell.
And now you'll see that something else popped up here. So as you complete a quest, the next quest giver is saying, yep, let's grab all that we can here. I'm going to hit accept. And I can kind of just hover over this and I can kind of see who else is on that quest. Gusty's going to go approve their guild app. So Marcus, you're already at level 7. So you do level actually rather quickly now. In 2004, that was not the case, my friend. It took almost the whole zone to get up to some of the levels here. So I'm supposed to kill these Krell and get the moss off of them. You can kind of see also, as I'm hovering over these mobs, the bottom right-hand corner of my screen is telling me that they have items that I need to complete the quest. That's also new. Was not in the original release, but is extremely helpful, especially if you're soloing and you're by yourself. We lost Gusty. You'll also notice that, see, this person over here killed these two. I still get to loot, so the loot is shared. So when you're in a group, if you kill everything and we all take turns smacking on it, we not only get the XP as a group, but we also get the loot. We share the loot. So it says objective complete. Marcus, at up here, my bar underneath my health, you'll notice that that red bar, it was at full. Warriors use rage to do their spells. So you'll notice that on my spell bar now, my slam, which requires 20 rage, is now available as long as that bar stays above 20. And with this class, rage actually disappears unless you continue to fight. So as a warrior, the more you swing your weapon, the more things smack on you, the more mad you get, the more rage you get, so that you can use those other spells. Looks like we have a couple of stolen bags we need to go get from these individuals. Another feature that was introduced into the game is you'll see that there's a kind of a little fuzzy mossy look over items that you need to pick up or open. So this is telling me as I kind of hover over it, yep, I need 5 of these bags. So I'm just going to right click on this. And you'll notice that didn't go into my bag. Look at my bag. Those did not show up in my bag, did they? Some quest items that you pick up just kind of are put into, I don't want to call it an imaginary inventory, but that's basically what it is. It's not filling up bag space. It's just a quest item. There are some quest items that do take up bag space, so that makes it much easier. Yeah, see how hard you hit? Mages definitely hit hard. Alright, so yeah, the Night Elves do a little bit of a flip, which is kind of fun. I know that some people like to have a little bit more of a first-person shooter type view to the game, so how I just scrolled in with my mouse, I have my settings to be able to scroll in. I can scroll all the way in and then I'm just first-person playing. I tend to like to see my character primarily because I don't like things sneaking up behind me, especially in PvP. When you're tanking in dungeons, or you do some more of the raids, you need to see where the items, the stuff around the, don't stand in the fire, don't stand in the poo, things like that. You need to be able to see around your character and look around. And so I don't think I've ever met anybody who played the game completely in first-person mode, but you have the option if you want to. There is, I'm just holding my normal mouse button down and I can kind of spin around and look if I want to. Alright, I need one more stolen bag and then we can go back in and turn this stuff in. Looks like something's popping up. Alright, is there anything in chat questions that folks have that I've missed? There's my kiddo doing the shadow meld. You do not, when you first start out, you do a lot of running. There is not, there are no mounts until you hit level 20 available for you to use. So one tip that I did learn over the years of leveling is kill everything. like it's not only is it XP, but it also has a chance to drop materials. Here I'm going to use my special slam spell. You notice it did a lot more damage to that mob. I learned that if you just kill everything along the way, you gain the XP, and you also gather materials that you can kind of sell for gold. And so I'm just going to kill everything here. That's one of the things that I've learned. Don't pass things up. Just to onslaught everything along your way is the way that I learned. If you want to level, gain XP rather quickly, that's a good tip. All right, so I'm going to turn these quests in.
What brings you here?
Continue. I'm going to get some boots here, which is awesome. Just showed up in my bag. So I can do one of two things to put these new boots on. I can either right click on it while it's in my bags and it'll place it on my character, or I could just drag and drop it onto that slot. Now, if it's an item that I cannot wear, it'll tell me. It'll let me know, hey, that's not something that your class is able to wear. An example would be, Marcus, you are a mage, you wear cloth items, you're not going to be able to wear leather, you're not going to be able to wear mail, you're not going to be able to wear plate items. And so if you tried to place it on your character, it wouldn't let you. It'd give you an error message.
Assist you?
Okay, turning in this.
Del Nadres.
Is that crop circle? Crop zones. Okay. And I just leveled. So I just hit level 2, guys. And so within a matter of, what was it, 3 quests we just did? I'm now at level 2. So it does level rather quickly compared to original release. Go ahead and accept here. And looks like there's some loot from somebody else's killing, which is awesome. I'm benefiting from somebody else's killing of an item. Alright, so let's go into town a little bit. Now we've got a few things here to sell. We're going to go into town. I've got here's my gold, so you can kind of see I've got 45 copper. I don't have gold yet. And you can kind of see that I also picked up a bag, a 6-slot bag. Now this is interesting because it automatically put the bag into my next slot. Normally in the original game, it would have shown up somewhere like here, and I would have had to drag and drop it. So if you go play Classic with Seema and Nethermore, you would actually have to grab that bag and place it into that slot. Okay, but it just automatically did it for me because retail WoW is so much easier than it was when it first came out. So I'm just going to kind of wander into town here, the nearest building. What I want you to, let's see if this will do this here. Pretty sure it will. Let's see. NPCs. I like to have nameplates on, so with mobs, I think I had my nameplates on. If not, I'll turn it on here in a second. But these are all NPCs that you can kind of talk to. If they don't have information below them as to what they're there for, they're just there. I know that there was. You can keep clicking on the character. They'll say interesting things to you. If you continue to click on them, they get a little annoyed. But here, Marcus is our class trainers, and so Hunter Trainer, Warrior Trainer, Rogue Trainers. I'm gonna want to remember where they are. They don't have anything for me right now because I'm only level 2 at this time. So I can also buy things from. This is a leather armor merchant. So I'm a warrior. Warriors wear mail. I wouldn't want to put on anything that's leather because that's not really necessarily going to be the quality of gear that I would want to roll with a warrior, since I would have access to the mail. All right, but cool thing is here I can either repair the items so that you're through death or through just basic use of combat, your item's durability will change. It'll decrease over time, and it can and does break, meaning that it won't even work. So if I just continue to use this sword and I ignore the fact that it needs to be repaired, it will end up disappearing. Even though it's still on my body, it will just not be available for me to use. Okay, so let's see if we can get it to happen here. I'm not going to actually repair it. We'll see if I can get some gear maybe to break a little bit. I am going to die, so I did want you guys to see what it looks like for a character to die and retrieve their body. Okay. Now, I can sell them things. I can buy things from them. So you'll notice here I can sell this dimly glowing eye. I can just click on it. I'm right-clicking on it, and it's selling them back to what we call them as vendors or traders. I don't need the cat hair, and you'll notice that the items in the bag are gray, so they're not even white. They're kind of gray. What it's saying is those are kind of trash. They're not used for any crafting. They're not used for potions or cooking or anything like that. If they were, they would be in white like this, and they would tell you what they would be used for. So I don't want these recruit boots because I got much better items. As you look at to hover over the gear, you can see the quality of the gear, whether it's the type of material. It's a plate material. the armor rating, so it's got 6 armor on it. The durability, so we're talking about when things break, that's your durability. It's got 30 of 30 durability, and of course the sell price to a vendor if I were to sell it. So I don't want these boots. I'm going to get rid of them. I don't need demon hair, and I don't need small leather collars. I do want to hold on to these 2 things. Tough jerky, it restores 94 health, so it's food. So if I'm getting beat up a little bit, I can actually, I'm dragging that off to my toolbar, spell bar, and this also restores health. So here's a couple of herbs that I can use. 3, so a stack of 3, and a stack of 2 tough jerky that I can eat. I'll show you how to do that once I take a little bit of damage. They won't let you use them until you start to take some damage. All right, so let's go. I can continue to wander through here. There's trainers, training dummies if you want to practice using some of the gear. That's a little bit later. Druid trainers here. It's been a long time since I've been in Teldrassil. Food and drink. Yeah, that's true. So food and drink. So Marcus, I am a warrior. I don't drink to get mana. You do. You need mana to replenish your blue bar at the top here. Rather quickly, you're going to want to get a hold of some refreshing spring water. That's going to replenish your mana a little bit faster. So if you're out, I usually grab a stack of these as much as I can afford. Grab a couple of stacks, take them with me out on a quest. I grab some food, make sure I have some way to regain my health. Or you can actually turn around and say, hey, my little kidling, why don't you heal me to regain my health? And so they do have some, as they level, they'll have some healing spells that they can use. Gusty is a druid as well, has healing capabilities. So if we're going out as a... Go ahead, Gusty. Not yet. Oh, no. Okay, we got to level a little bit more. So we got to be a little careful that we don't pull too much on us and get killed. You might have to stop a little bit, eat some food. If you're a caster that uses mana, you might have to drink some... let's see, where are we headed? We are headed. So I just hit my map button. I can see this quest is done. I need to go speak to this priestess. I can see where she is. I can either choose to follow the road. And so I think I did this. I did in my interface. Let's see. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? I want to... I'm trying to remember where I turned off my help settings, but basically the tooltips. Does anybody remember where that is? I thought it was an interface. Is it in help? Social display, combat, controls. Well, it's I believe there's a help functionality in here. Where is it? There, here it is. I think there was a setting where it actually gives you tooltips. I'll have to look for it and maybe post it. But we can either stay on the road, which you're less likely to run into other angry or meaner mobs. You can kind of see. I'm going to turn on my nameplates here. And I'm just hitting map. You can leave the map open if you want. Wander down the road here. We're kind of moving along. Looks like Gusty's got one of her pets out. And I'm trying to find this character to go turn this in, that question mark. And you notice that this little guy, see he's got a little bit of a yellow bar. They don't have an aggro radius, meaning that I can just walk all over him and he's not going to attack me. Okay, we're going to, later on as you start to level, you're going to run into mobs that have a red bar. And that means that if you get close enough, they will actually aggro on top of you and will attack you, even if you don't hit them first, which is good to know. Alright, I'm going to turn in this quest here. Oh, I'm going to get a chest plate here when I get done with this. Now you notice I accepted that quest and some of the items here now have lit up. And again, you can always just hover over it and see if it's something you need. So if I were to hover over this deer, I don't need anything like that. But I do need these flowers. There are some items that are shared, so you see how that said already being used? Now that just disappeared, right? Even though we're in a group, that item disappeared. Now there is a respawn rate where if I were to sit here long enough, that would actually come back. But if you look around in the area, which in our map, you asked about the map earlier, Marcus, this map right here has this little ghost cloud around it. This is telling me where I would find more of those lilies. And so as I kind of wander around, I should be able to... Oh, don't be sorry. No worries, Gusty. There's plenty. I can find one here. If I were to go beyond this little cloud zone, then I would not expect to find any of those quest items. See, I just walked away and I came back and they've already respawned. And that's a collaborative effect. So with items where you have to actually pick them up, you may need to wait for other people to help finish them off. I can see the progress of the group. Looks like me and my kidling I need 4 more. You said swimming. You can actually swim while you're underwater. This is a great way to be able to illustrate death, so I don't have to fight something to die. Well, this might take a while. But your breath bar as you're underwater, you'll actually start to see this start to come down. As it gets all the way down to the bottom, you actually will start to lose life. And you can kind of see the bar starting to go down a little bit here. We'll give it a second. Now, to get breath back, all I have to do is press my space bar and I can swim up. But I'm actually going to die. I want you guys to experience what it looks like to have to run back to your body. Any other questions in the chat that I'm missing, possibly, Marcus? Crop, what was it you wanted me to show? I'm scrolling back through the chat, so I'm just scrolling up. I hover over the chat bar, and I can scroll up. Show your mounts and type in chopper. Okay. I think I do. If I do have this, I'm going to type in so you can actually find your... now again, mounts don't happen until you hit 20. Start collecting mounts, but they're also shared across all characters, so once you get a mount, you have the ability to use it. Once you hit level, to be able to use it. So he said to type in chopper. I had it selected, not selected, because I was mount farming yesterday. Alright, so I'm going to type in chopper, and this one is available to my level. So I can actually put... Now, those in the starter zone wouldn't have access to that, but I do have access to a mount a little bit earlier on. Okay, you'll notice, oh, Max is sharing stuff with me. Oh, he's giving me bags. So this is a great way to be able to see how you can share items. So if Max has... And he's giving me some gold. So as you're out and about, there might be things that you need to share with each other, trade with each other. This is exactly how you do it. Now, how Max did that is he right-clicked on my character and he hit trade. It opens up this window where you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 slots. Or if you're wanting, like if I want Max to enchant something for me, I know this is a little bit more advanced, but if I want Max to enchant something for me, but I don't want to give it to him to do that, actually you can't give things that are soul-bound to someone else. And so another thing might be a lockbox. If a rogue is picking a lock box for you, you don't really want to hand it to them. You can, but you don't want to hand it to them necessarily if you don't know them. This would be a way to not have something be traded to interact with it. But he's giving me a bag and he's giving me some gold. Now, I could choose to give him some money back. So if you're trading items with individuals in capital cities, if somebody says, hey, I want to sell this, or if somebody says, hey, can somebody help me with this? It is customary and sometimes to tip people for their help. My breath is actually down, so I'm going to die here in a minute, Max. So I'm going to go ahead and hit trade. But I could choose to pay Max for that bag if I wanted to. I could give him a couple of copper and what have you. So I'm going to go ahead and hit trade. And it says, are you sure you want to trade this? I'm going to hit OK. And now you can see in my bag, I have this 16 slot bag. And what's really cool is it says who made it. So you can actually see who made that item. You see it says made by Magentia. So I'm going to go ahead and drag that down. Yes, I want to equip it. What? Oh no, I'm going to have to go kill... I'm going to have to find another way to die. But, let's go see if I can get something to hit me and then I will die. Let's find something a little bit harder, wander out. What do I need? I need another lily, 3 more lilies. That's right, the spider cave. Oh man, I died so many times in that spider cave. But you know what's really kind of cool is what I really dig about this is there's so much fun to be had with a couple of your friends or a group of friends, but you can also just, if you just done peopling and you just want to solo, you can do that too. There's nothing wrong with doing that. And I did originally when I first started playing the game. I did a lot of running off by myself, which got me in a lot of trouble. So I am going to go get into a little bit of trouble. We're going to go into a spider cave. And it looks like somebody's marked a pet battle here. Spider cave, spider cave. But what's really cool, guys, is we've only explored a fraction of the realm. Not just Azeroth, but if you think about it, we've only kind of been in this part of the area, and there is this whole several zones that are just tons and tons. See, now see how that's red? That bar is red. Now, if I get close enough, it's called an Aggro Radius. Okay, so I'm not taunting him. I'm not hitting him. I'm not doing anything to him. You see how he's red? So if I get too close to him, it's called face pulling. If I get too close to him, he just starts hitting me, and I didn't do anything to him. Your red characters are automatically going to come after you, and so here you see my health bars going down. Later on in the game, it also showed down here. I wasn't as fond of that because I kind of like having a clean window. If I run through him and I keep going, this is something that a tank would do. I gather a bunch of things up, I hold them in place, and everybody kind of melts them down. But if I keep running, I'm going to get myself into a little bit of trouble here. I'm going to get a few things on me, and I'm not going to be able to handle the amount of damage that's happening to me. And I'll end up dying here. So it was a defensive stance, so you see what I did there? I blocked there just by standing there. You do block some attacks. If you turn your back to mobs, you don't block, which is why you always fight bosses from behind. They can't block your attacks. With a group, we're a little bit... Whoa! There's a cliff. So, Kenya, this is for you. Kenny. You can drop, and so there is gravity in the game, and if you drop far enough, you will actually end up dying. So, I've died. If I do not release my spirit within 6 minutes, it's going to release for me. If I want to see what killed me for whatever reason, I can click on recap and kind of see, yep, this spider hit me for melee of -5 health this many times, and this is what ended up killing me. So I'm going to release my spirit. What's also nice about the Night Elf is their spirit. It actually moves faster to run back to it than other racials. So it's a racial that we have. You have to run back to your body, so this is not like Call of Duty, like you were talking about on the podcast. I can choose to talk to this individual. I can't find my corpse. I don't know where I left my body. Will you please just resurrect me here? I can choose to do that if I want to. However, I don't want to take any kind of durability loss to all of my gear. So I'm actually going to... I can see up here on the mini-map, I can see where my... And on the regular map, I can see where my corpse is. So, as a wisp, we talked about some of the racials. As a night elf, 75% speed increase to run back to your body. That can be pretty helpful when you're PvPing, right? So if you want to run back to your body a little bit faster than the rest of everybody else, that's a nice little feature to have. Okay. Another reason to maybe choose a night elf if you want. So I'm following the arrow up here. I don't remember the arrow being there in original WoW in the first release, so you had to do a lot of running. There is up and down and all around, and so as I get closer to my body, I can kind of see my body if I hover over it, corpse of me. If I get close enough, you know, I pulled three spiders on me, and I couldn't take it. There's no way I was going to be able to survive that when I was by myself. And so let's say they're still there. They're not dead. They're still hiding there. I would want to kind of move as close as I can to my corpse to where I can accept and resurrect where there aren't any other animals or spiders or beasts or anything like that. Now I can see some moving around over here. The team did a great job of clearing out the area, so I really don't have anything to be concerned about. But it is something, it's a strategy you can use to resurrect in a spot that's safe. You'll resurrect with a little bit less health than when you so you can sit down and you can regen your health. You can eat the food. Being in this group, it looks like we healed up rather quickly. I can, as they were fighting, I'm able to loot some of the things that they left behind, which is kind of cool. If they can, as you kind of level and you get better and better, having somebody who can resurrect you. So that's one thing, Marcus. If you've got someone in your group that can resurrect you, let's see, that's Geth. Let's get them in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have too many people in a group. We can't invite Geth. If we try to, it'd say your group, it's not big enough, right? At the end of the day. Oh, Max left. So let's invite Geth. There you go. And that's returning back to your body. That's simple. If you do have somebody who can resurrect you, they can res. You don't have to do the run. You can kind of just stay there, and they can resurrect you. But that's a lot later on. And DK can res. Yes, Gethron is from Gethron is from the future. He's in an expansion that hasn't happened yet because we're living in the original WoW. When you drop into a cave, so if you'll notice that our mini map kind of changed, right? Our mini map and our main map changed. You'll notice that there are levels, and so as you kind of wander around, this winds around, but we can still zoom out and we can kind of see where we are within that zone. It wasn't, when you go into caves, they're not available for you to kind of zoom into like we were able to in the zone. So I zoomed out there. Now I'm going to zoom back in. You can't zoom into a cave. You have to be in the cave to be able to see the cave map. Any questions, Marcus?
I need a target.
Yeah. So a couple of other things I know. We're man, that hour and a half went by quick. The PvP dungeon running and exploring the world. I think we probably have a little bit of time to get to a capital city. I can share with you. We have a pretty good group here. We can get to the capital city, Darnassus, and maybe we can see what some of the profession trainers have to offer for us before we run out of time. But you don't have to, and that's another thing. You can actually wander around, or with a higher level character, if they can protect you as you kind of run around. As you move through the zone, the mobs will become increasingly harder. But if you have a character like Max, that's maybe at a max character level, and he has a 2-person mount, they can actually fly you around. So I could pick up a level 1. Go ahead, man. Go ahead, Marcus. Yes, Max is max level. But your mounts, there are also mounts that are 2-person mounts. So here's one that's a 3-person mount. So if I remember right, I can't click on it. Oh, Max, he's not in our group, so I can't get on his mount. But here, let's do this. Geth, I'm gonna have to pop you out. Sorry, buddy. I'm gonna uninvite him. So how do you uninvite somebody? So I can, they can either choose to leave the group, or you can actually ask them to leave. Oh, he left the party. So down here in chat, it said he left the party. So if we re-invite Max, oops. Now Max has a mount that 2 more people can hop on, if I remember. Can somebody else hop on that one, Max? Yes. So up here, there's a slot for another person. So, Gusty, why don't you hop on there? Oh, I don't. Me either. So, Marcus, hop on the mount. So right click on the mount, you'll get a green arrow. Okay. So now Max can actually ride us over to Darnassus. This is so. Now this is something I wanted to point out. Recruit a friend. There are perks within the game where, like, Marcus, if you were to sub and you told me that you were interested in subbing, and within the recruit a friend tool, I could correct. So you there are ways that you can gain experience buffs, but then you can also gain things like two-person mounts. That can happen in other expansions. But these types of mounts are very rare, where you can have additional people on the mount. And I'm not having to do anything. Marcus and I are just kind of sitting along. Max is doing all of the driving. Gethron off to our left here, he's actually on a flying mount. This is a ground mount that Max has us on. That flying mount, that rocket, has the capability to actually cover more ground at 310 speed, I think, if I remember right, a lot faster. So if we were to race Gethron to the next zone or to the capital city, he'd beat us because he's on a flying mount versus a ground mount. Now, you'll notice that if I hover over these beasts, they're level 3. As we kind of watch, they start to increase in difficulty. This is an inn. How I know this is an inn? Max, hang on a second for me. Let me jump off really quick. Right here's how I exit the vehicle. This little red X. I wanted to show this to you because this is another thing that I didn't learn until maybe 3 months into playing the game. If you'll notice my character picture up here, as I walk into the inn, see those 3 little Z's? I'm sleeping. I'm not sleeping. I'm actually not laying down. The inn will actually change your experience bar to have additional experience capability. So rested bonus you'll get if you stay at an inn. So it's really important for you to find the innkeeper. Well, if you're out and questing and you're like, I need to be able to hop back over to an innkeeper.
How may I help?
He has what's called a Hearse Stone. You notice if I hover over him, he's got a little white token over him. I right-clicked on him. I want to make this in my home. And so, yes, I'm sure I do. And this little token that was in my bag when I was born, now if I were to click on it when I'm clear across the country, I right-click on this and it'll bring me right back to this home. It's really helpful so that you can continue to get that rested buff while you're leveling. This bar will turn blue if I were to sit here overnight, or within I can't remember what the time frame is. Within a couple of hours, you're going to start to see this bar will turn blue, and you'll get additional experience gain whenever you're out killing things or questing. So good, handy tip for you to do. If you're an RP player, you can go ahead and hop on the bed. My kids loved doing RP when they were little, so I can do /sleep if I want, and I can lay down on the bed if you want to do that. All right, so let's go hit the capital city here. Go ahead. Yes, so there are portals that you can get to. You actually chose a character that later on you have the ability to create portals, and you can actually teleport yourself. So if you're thinking about some people really liked the mage character because it had the capability to get around the continent rather easily. And so your portaling is to the major cities, capital city, and the other cities. But then you can also set up portals for your whole group. And so this was something that mages were able to make money in original, for tips. People would say, hey, can you port me to Stormwind? And you'd be here in Darnassus. So I mentioned that Gethron could have flown us there, Max could have ridden us there, I could have run all the way there, which would have taken me a long time, but then I also could have gotten a mage, and the mage can actually portal you, and you don't have to be at the same level they're at. So you just join the group, the mage says create portal for group, and now everybody in that group can choose to walk through the portal. So yes, that would be the fast track. Another thing to point out here that Max is standing over here by the Flight Master. if I hit my map again, and I mark townsfolk, I'm going to mark my auctioneer, and I've got something hovering over. I'm going to click all of these things. I want to see everybody here, but I also want to see I can't click on it because my Microsoft recording thing is over my window there. So I can't quite click on the Flight Master. But if you click on tracking the Flight Master, you would actually see them. This is another way that you can actually, I'm going to right click to learn, so that green mark there was to learn that. Now I've learned that flight point. If I right click on it, it can tell you where I can fly to. So I can fly all the way to Darnassus if I choose to, and any other flight point that I learn will open up the map. So you can either have a mage that's higher level that has the ability to portal, but you can also fly to and from. Okay.
May the stars.
Let's hop back on Max here. Looks like somebody else is on there. I'm going to race you guys there. So Max. Oh, okay. We're on. Here we go. So as we kind of go along. So that's the first area. Oh, isn't he cool? He is so awesome. He's a protector. And there... Yes, if you're Horde and you come into the area, he will mess you up. But also the thing... No, you did not. You did not hear that, Marcus. You did not hear that. No, so another strategy that you can use is some of those protectors, if you drag mobs, so if I grab that furblog that's down there, that's beating me up and I can't beat them up hard enough, if I start to attack them and pull them into a city, and I have to still do some damage, but I used to use that as a tactic when I was hitting high-level things that I had a hard time killing by myself. I would let the townsfolk help me kill it. So that's a strategy you can use if you're having a hard time soloing some content. You can drag those guys in and they'll help protect you. Now you have to do a majority of the damage, otherwise you won't be able to loot the mob. But that is something that I have used as a tactic to kind of kill some of the upper level creatures that are out here. I didn't see any rares while we were out here, but this item level's 3 and obviously didn't aggro us. If Max were to drive us out in this area, this Stalker would likely aggro because we're so low level. See? And then he can just keep on running if he wants to. But even though you have a max character with you, the NPCs or the beasts or the mobs still will aggro to the lowest level character and can kill them rather quickly. So this is just the color in here. I forgot how awesome Darnassus looks. And there's a festival going on right now. There's a mini event that's going on. We need to go to the bank. So this is now if I hit map, guys, the capital city is another one very similar to like the cave was. I'm now in the capital city, and I can kind of see where some of the, let's see, we've got, let me max it out here. Max is driving. So you can kind of see our characters moving around, our group. Temple of the Moon, Tradesman's Terrace, so Craftsman's Terrace, Warrior's Terrace. There are some areas where we're going to see where you can start to learn some professions and what have you. So I'm going to hop off here. Max took us, thank you. So the little red X right here, click on that. Thank you, Max. Now, if Max was somebody who, and this is another etiquette thing, Max did us a favor. He helped us out. If we wanted to tip him for that, we could. If we wanted to do that, we could. He may say no, thanks. Thanks for that. I have plenty of gold. But that is something that from an etiquette standpoint, if somebody's helping you out, there is the etiquette either to thank them with money, which we can trade with him, and you don't have to be in the group to trade, or you can just say thank you. So with the emote system, we can say thank / thank.
Thank you.
And now we've told Max thank you. You can also bow. And Max being an officer, I can also salute. And everybody salutes just a little bit differently. Okay. All right. So thank you, Max, for the ride. We've got here's the guild bank, and again, man, I can't tell you how much fun it is just to kind of see the artwork. Like the devs just did an amazing job. I'm clicking on the banker, and now you can see I can store some of the things that This Tiger's Eye is a crafting reagent. It's a gem, or it's a raw gem, and so I'm going to save it for later. And how I do that is I just right click, and I've got up to 4x7 slots available. I can buy more slots, so if I click on that, it's going to cost me money, but I can put items in here that I may need later. So these spider legs, they're gray items. I'm not going to use those. No, you do not want to put your Hearse Stone in the bank. You want to keep the Hearse Stone with you at all times because it helps you to get back to where you were headed originally. So
Farewell.
So that's the bank. There is also the guild bank. Now I'm not in the guild right now, so I guess if I were to, Gusty, are you able to invite? Okay. So here's what I'm going to do, guys. This is the thing that we've been telling folks about. It's fairly new, and it's something that does confuse even the WoW players who've been, let's see, been playing for years and years and years. There's a new Guild Finder utility feature in the game. And so I clicked on Guild Finder. I'm going to search for AIE, and there's our guild, Virtus. I'm going to request to join, and I'm going to say, hey, Max, this is Fez. And I can choose Arms, Fury, and Protection are the roles that I like to play, and I'm going to hit Apply. And so, and this is maybe maybe the devs are listening. I don't know. If they are, great. It would be really awesome if once the guild invite is accepted, we are told. Now you saw it happen up right here. A little window popped up, but it'd be really cool if there was something up here that told you. So thank you, Max, for inviting me. I can go back to the guild communities tab. There's the invite to Aliat Yacta Est Virtus, and I can hit accept. Okay. And now I have some additional tools that I can use in my chat channel. I can use /G for guild, and I can say that. And now the whole guild, you can see the list of the individuals who are in the guild. You can see if they're away. So Tincian there's a little icon next to them, says they're away. I can click on them, and if there's a note about who they are, I can see who they are. With all of the alts that are in the game, alt characters that people have and play, a lot of times folks will actually put their main character name in the notes section here, but I can choose to update my own. Let's see, click on my own character here, click here to set my public note, and I'm going to say this is Fez. Click accept. And now those that are in the guild, they can actually look at the roster and they can see, oh, who was that just joined? Oh, that's Fez right there. And so they can say, hey, welcome aboard, Fez. Now that I'm in the guild, I have access to the guild bank. Oh, look at all that loot and all these pets. The tabs in the guild bank are available, and I think Max said it really well last night at the town hall. It's like folks that are joining and entering the game for the first time, please do not be shy. When you're in the guild, people have donated this because they want to help you, and we don't view you taking things out of here and using them as being greedy. Please, 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 we would love nothing more than to have these items go to people who need them and can use them. So don't be shy. If you need something out of the guild bank, please ask in guild. Say, hey, I really could use this two-handed axe for my character. Look, it's for level 7. Look at that. And it's got stats. So it's got not only the white stats, but it's got the green stats on it. I could really use that axe when I hit level 7. I'm going to go ahead and grab that. I just right-clicked on it. Now it's in my bags. And now I can save that for when I hit level 7, which happens really quickly. And yeah, like Gusty said, look at all those pets. Now I already have a bunch of pets, so I'm not going to pull those out. But please do that. Please take the items out of here that you can use. And if you hover over it, it'll tell you what level it requires. So this ring I wouldn't be able to use for a long time, so I wouldn't grab that out necessarily. But if it's within my range of my character, then heck yes, please take that out. Here's a 16 mail. I could use that in a few levels, so I'm going to go ahead and grab that out. See how it said, hey, you've kind of already taken too much. That's okay. I could ask in guild, hey, can somebody please grab the pants out, these items right here. And if I want to tell the person in chat what they are, I can do /. I can say, hey, officer, can you please email me these from GBank? And I'm going to hold my shift key down, and I'm going to click on this item, and it places the item into the chat log. So shift, normal click, and it'll put the item in the chat log. Now if you click on the item from the chat log, it'll actually pull up the stats. So they can actually go to the guild bank, find the item for you. You might need to tell them it's in tab 1 because there was more than one tab. Am I getting close on time, Marcus? I get a few more minutes. But several different tabs that are available to you. Right now, at my level, I only have access to one tab. There is usually other tabs as you kind of get in. Oh, here they are. Sorry. I'm used to add-ons that put the tabs at the bottom. So here are the different tabs with the different materials in them. There are materials for cooking. There's materials for either first aid or for cloth, sewing, the tailoring, herbing, potions, rocks for either gems, creating gems, or for blacksmithing. You might need those as well. But there's other materials in each of these different tabs, and each tab has kind of here's the welcome wagon, cooking materials. I'm going to go ahead and close this. I'm going to run off. I do want to show you guys the profession trainers and then also the mail. So I don't know if anybody has the ability to send me in-game mail, just so I can kind of show it the mail. Oh, look, you know what? Somebody already did it. Looks like my kiddo sent me some mail. So at the top right here on my mini-map, you can see that there's a little mail icon. It wasn't there a minute ago, and as well as a calendar. But this little thing will pop up when you have mail that somebody has sent you. You can send mail from other characters to yourself as well. So I just find a mailbox, and if you look, I actually have everything being tracked in the city. So the mailbox is this little, let's see if I can zoom in a little bit. I can't because this darn Microsoft thing's in the way. But little mailbox icon, it would show up on my map. I can walk up to it, right click on it, and you'll see that I have, oh, everybody's sending me money. That is awesome. So Gethron sent me some cash. He sent me 5 gold. I can just click on this item, and it would be normally customary to send him a thank you if you want. Here's another one. Hello. You can send mail in Animal Crossing too. So my kiddo's saying you can send mail. Now I can click to save this message if I want to. Normal click on it, and it'll put that message in my bag. And then you can delete this character. You can also reply and say, I did not know that. And then it's going to cost me. No, it didn't cost me anything. It usually costs me a copper or two. Mail is usually pretty inexpensive to send back and forth. I can just leave that there. It'll be there for 30 days. But once you've read your mail, that icon will go away off the top right. Okay. All right. So did you set your Hearse Stone back to that innkeeper? Did you talk to the innkeeper? You did not. Okay, so that means you get to run all the way back there, or you can find a flight master to get you at least halfway there. So, Marcus, if you do your map, are you doing any tracking? If you do your townsfolk tracking, okay, so up here, top right, click on your mini map, little hourglass, search. You want to go right here to flight master, and make sure that's checked. Once that happens, you should be able to on your map, you should be able to see the flight master, or you can hit map here and you can see here's the little blue wings, feet. That's your flight master right there. Now as we get a little bit closer, you'll notice they'll show up on this mini map right here as those little feet. They'll be brown and yellow this time though. So I know where they're at. They're over here. I'm going to run through the water. and you can click on this Hippogriff Master. Now, if I wanted to help you find it, I could actually do what? I can actually target the icon for you. And now you can see it on the map. So if you're helping somebody else to find a mob, right-click on her, and if you click on Teldrassil, Dolinar, that'll actually take you back to that spot where we learned that flight path. While Marcus is doing that, I'm going to quickly try to find a professions trainer and show you what professions look like, and that will probably round out our session here. We got about 17 minutes left. Any other questions that you see in chat, Marcus? Did it take you anywhere? Okay, so while we were in town, I don't think you clicked on the flight point to learn the new flight path. You are running back, my friend. Now, you can also try hitting your Hearse Stone. So grab your bag, hit your Hearse Stone, right-click on your Hearse Stone. It'll cast. It's that little white stone that's in your bag with a blue swirly. Now that'll take you back to, I believe that'll take you back to your birthplace, your starting zone. Now if you talk to an innkeeper and said, hey, I'd really like to be here, then I would like to, yep, it is. And now that has a cooldown on it. So 30-minute cooldown. And that's actually better because you're in our guild. You get that extra bonus. No, I'm in the guild. I'm in level 2. So you should be. Oh, that's right. That's right. That's right. You're in the starter pack. You're in the free to play. All right. So guys, here's the professions. So this is cooking. Cooking trainer. I would like to be able to learn how to cook, and look, I have to be level 5 to learn how to cook. It's going to cost me 10 copper, and once I gain that, I will. I should have leveled a little bit more, but I can also get supplies. So the things that I need to be able to make some of the cooking items. I mentioned having tough jerky and having food and water in your bags if you're a mana user. But having at least food in your bags is something you're going to want to carry with you often. And so you can buy recipes as you kind of skill up on your cooking. You do need a fire to be able to cook, or you need to find something that is like a stove or like an open fire that you can use to cook your items over. But cooking is definitely a profession everybody will want. It's not a secondary or primary. It's one of those that is by default available to you. Cooking, fishing, and archaeology are by default. You have the ability to learn all 3 of these. You don't have to learn them, but I would encourage you to at least learn cooking. I really dig fishing. In old school fishing, you could actually fish the materials to cook, so that was helpful, and to skill up your cooking. Archaeology has some fun in-game things you can do, but you could get by without. I would say you could get by without archaeology if you wanted to. I mentioned mining.
Ain't you a chipper
So mining goes good with blacksmithing. Mining goes good with your jewel crafting. Or if you just want to mine to sell the ore, you could do that as well. You're definitely going to need a pick. And so I do have some gold. Now I can't mine yet. It requires mining level 1. But you do have to have a pick in your bags to be able to mine. Okay, same with skinning. If you pick up leatherworking in your skinner, you need to have a skinning knife in your bags. Now I have to level to level 5 before I can start mining. So that's the mining, gathering. There are others. Let's see. This is go ahead. Yes. There are wonderful things that engineers can make that help our world be much better. So yes, the Swiss Army knives are something you're going to want to pick up. It will act as your does some extra things for an engineer as well. Bandage Trainers. So this is you learn your first aid. So not only does food help regain your health, but you can also learn to make bandages. So you can bandage yourself up after battle.
Good luck.
Now later on in the game, in the base game it's there. Later on in the game, the latest expansion, it kind of goes away with I think it was Legion where it went away, if I remember right. But what else do we have? Let's see. All right, let's see. Let's do PvP. So to teach you about open world, we're not on a PvP realm. We've chosen a realm that doesn't force you into a PvP environment. So to become player versus player, meaning that I could fight our horde brethren and sistren, I would need to toggle into being PvP. So I can do /PvP, and now I am flagged for combat. Now you'll notice that my nameplate just changed color, and I got this new bonus icon underneath my profile. So that tells me that I am available to be killed at this point, but I can also attack other players who are PvP. Now, if I were to, well, if Sai were to fly into Darnassus right now and swoop down on me, they could actually kill me. If they weren't flagged yet, and they swoop down in here, you'll notice that there are some protectors that are flying around here. Those protectors would likely smack Sai and flag them for PvP. So engaging with a PvP protector will also flag a player of the opposing faction. So to turn off PvP, do the same thing, and you'll see that now I've toggled it off. However, you'll see there's a little 5-minute countdown. You can't just turn off PvP. You can't go smack on somebody, kill them, and then go run away and then turn off PvP immediately. The game has kind of put a fairness factor in there of say, hey, look, you've engaged in PvP activity. You don't just get to turn it off. So you're still available to be attacked for the next 5 minutes. And you'll see that kind of countdown. Now, as you're running around out in the world, it's very, very easy to walk into an opposing faction's camp, especially if you're not paying attention. Oh, hey, look, that Tauren over there looks friendly. You get close enough and they start smacking on you. So you could be out and about, not even engaging in what you think is PvP, and because you got close to one of the Guardians, they end up hitting you and flagging you. And likely at the level that I'm at, would kill you instantly. Those guards are pretty high level. So Marcus, here is what you needed to do to learn the flight path. When you walk up to a flight master, they have this little green bar, looks almost like a quest item, exclamation point. You right click on it, and now you've discovered a new location to fly to. So I click on this, and I can fly to the other continent at this point, or back to where we started. It looks like
Go in peace.
so, and it'll connect the dots. So as you kind of go and explore, you'll learn more and more of these different flight points.
Farewell.
Really later on in the expansion, flight points are pretty much already there. Let's see. And that I just walked through a portal, so I guess I didn't point that out. So I'm in the middle of Darnassus, this capital city, and I just walked through this portal and ended up outside the city. So now I'm outside, even though the city's there. It portaled me over to here. And there are two ways. What am I missing? Transportation, other than portals, flight masters, there's also ships, and so I gotta remember where the dock is here. I think it's straight up this way. It is, I think. You can actually take ships. There's a dockmaster. Oh, there's a portal. It's been a while since I've been in the starting zone. This is going to take me all the way to Stormwind. Oh my gosh, you guys have it so easy. To walk to Stormwind from here was quite the adventure. So if I click on this, it'll take me to Stormwind. Any open water that you're in, as you learn fishing, you can actually fish out of. That's actually kind of fun. It's very addicting, especially if you are using the fish to help make feasts for raid, or for yourself. Food, different types of food buffs for yourself. Alright, so now I'm in the capital city, Stormwind. And if I hit map, now you can see the map's quite a bit bigger. This little, if you find yourself in an area, this is telling me I need to go back to go finish this quest. So you'll see this is kind of a little tooltip you'll get. Hey, I need to go back to that area. As you kind of visit a new city, it'll tell you, hey, you need to go back this way to get and finish that quest. If you have quests that are either need to be completed or already complete. Now, I just moved. If you look, I'm going to zoom out. I'm going to show you how far we just moved. I went all the way from here, this little island, Teldrassil, all the way over to Stormwind within just a second of clicking on that portal. I can get right back to where we started by just using my Hearse Stone, and that's a strategy you can use if you're wandering around and you've gotten to something. You can just go ahead and click on your Hearse Stone, like I think Marcus did earlier, and it'll take you right back. And if you're not sure where it's going to take you, you can actually look in the text down there. It tells you where it's going to take you back to. You bet. Hey, absolutely. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Guys, thank you so much for supporting. If you have additional questions, we're here for you. Doesn't matter how newbie it may sound. You can see at the bottom down here, my little blue bar turned blue because I've got some rested bonus available to me now. But thank you for attending. Please do attend the others that you can. Hopefully, if you do not play WoW, maybe you're a little interested and curious and might want to pick it up. So happy to answer any questions offline. Thanks, guys. Thank you so much. And thank you, Kiddo, for helping me. Gusty, Max, and Marcus, thanks for helping me out in the starter zone. I really appreciate it. All right. Right on. Let's do it. Thanks, guys.